Hi, welcome to Overcoming Perfectionism so you can live a bigger, better, braver life. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. If we haven't met before, my name is Nancy Picard, and I'm a master integrative life coach and the author of the upcoming book, Bigger, Better, Braver. Conquer your fears, embrace your courage, and transform your life. I've known many people who consider themselves perfectionists, and I'm happy to report that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm motivated to help you achieve a healthier set of standards and explore a new mindset. If you have any questions during our time together, please feel free to email me at nancy@nancypicardlifecoach.com, and I will do my best to respond quickly. Perfectionism can be difficult to define. The pursuit of perfectionism in itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. However, there's a dark side involving self-defeating thoughts or behaviors. And while being perfect is often associated with a positive trait, Brene Brown, author and professor at the University of Houston Graduate College of Social Work, says, perfectionism is not the same as striving to be your best. Perfectionism is not about healthy achievement and growth. Most people strive for perfection from time to time in certain areas of life. However, to be considered a perfectionist, there are a number of other qualities often associated with one's attempt to be perfect. Some examples of perfectionism might include spending 30 minutes writing and rewriting a 2-sentence email, or believing that missing 2 points on a test is a sign of failure, difficulty being happy for others who are successful, holding oneself to the standards of others' accomplishments, or comparing oneself unfavorably and unrealistically to others, focusing on the end product rather than the process of learning, believing that anything less than a perfect idea or outcome is not worth achieving. And most of these examples will stop you from achieving a bigger, better, braver life. Perfectionism is considered to be a personality disposition in terms of psychology. Extremely high performance standards and a compulsion to strive for flawlessness are common among perfectionists. When these behaviors are exaggerated, perfection can become destructive. To set unattainable or unrealistic goals, the only possible outcome is failure, leading to low self-esteem and depression. According to Psychology Today, there are 3 types of perfectionism. One is self-oriented. This type of perfectionist is driven by the need to avoid personal failure by setting rigid standards for themselves. Another is other-oriented. This type of perfectionist is overly judgmental and critical of others, setting unrealistic expectations on their spouses, children, friends, and coworkers. And the third type is socially prescribed. This type of perfectionist believes that they can never measure up to the high standards set for them by others. Perfectionists are synonymous with a number of specific traits, some positive, some negative. Positive traits are reliable, responsible, dedicated, driven, persistent. Negative traits such as critical, unrealistic, approval-seeking, prone to depression, anxious. The problem with perfectionism is feeling like one never measures up. The ideas perfectionists hold themselves to does not match the reality of what is truly possible. Perfectionism is truly an issue when various aspects of life become consumed. Many perfectionists develop crippling fears, which lead to the refusal even to try anything, simply because the fear of failure is so great. Whether it be their struggle with acceptance leading to failure or the fear of failure itself, perfectionists get stuck in a vicious cycle of failure, lowered self-esteem, depression, and feelings of despair. If you want to live a bigger, better, braver life, you need to learn to step out of your comfort zone and give up the belief that unless you can be perfect, you don't want to try. There are various factors contributing to the development of perfectionism. However, perfection often stems from childhood as a learned behavior. Perfectionism may be encouraged in children by parents driving a child too hard to succeed and expressing disapproval when their children's efforts do not result in perfection. Additionally, children of parents who are perfectionistic are more likely to become perfectionists themselves. The feelings of overwhelming pressure to live up to achievements can lead to a perfectionistic behavior. Overpraise for accomplishments may also lead to feelings of pressure to continue achieving, which usually leads to perfectionism. Research increasingly shows that perfection is highly correlated with anxiety, depression, and stress. Because of the nature of perfectionists, they are less likely to share their pain with others, as doing so would mean their appearance is less than perfect. As I stated earlier, anxiety and depression can be serious conditions that result from perfectionism. These conditions need some form of treatment. When untreated, other conditions can develop, including relationship disorders, eating disorders, obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD, or OCD perfectionism. In some cases of unhealthy perfectionism, obsessive compulsive disorder can be linked when there's a strong need for things to be done just right. In these cases, it's a common belief that if the compulsion is carried out perfectly, a feared outcome will not take place. OCD perfectionism may perpetuate and reinforce obsessions as well. We all exhibit a certain amount of perfectionism. However, as we've seen, perfectionistic behaviors also have a dark side. If you're a moderate perfectionist, watch out for the following signs, which can increase and then bring you to a harmful level. You know your drive to perfection is hurting you, but you consider it the price you pay for success. You're a full-time procrastinator. You tend to be highly critical of others. You do things in the extreme, or you struggle with purely black and white thinking. You have a hard time opening up to other people. You take everything personally. You are overly defensive when criticized. You're never quite there yet. Now that we have a better understanding of perfectionism, let's take a look at strategies for reducing the negative traits associated with being a perfectionist. To start, let's review some common negative consequences associated with perfectionism we want to prevent or change. So perfectionism can reduce overall well-being by causing you to worry about tiny mistakes and creating unnecessary stress. It can negatively impact behavior by creating defensiveness in response to suggestions from others. It can lead to procrastination as the right moment or the right conditions are needed to start a project. It can create an all or nothing mindset, paralyzing progress of a project or a task. It can lead to the development of self-loathing by reinforcing the belief of not being good enough. It can exacerbate a fear of failure. And it can lead to being overly judgmental and critical of others. It can hold one back from actually excelling. Each of these will hold you back from the ability to live a bigger, better, braver life. It's important to remember having high standards is okay, but when these standards impact the enjoyment of life, it's time to consider a change. Here are a few questions you can answer to help you figure out if your standards are too high. 1, Do you have trouble meeting your own standards? 2, is there something you have wanted to do but can't seem to get yourself to try? 3, do you feel frustrated, depressed, anxious, or angry when trying to meet standards? 4, have you been told your standards are too high? 5, do your standards get in the way of meeting deadlines or trusting others to help? 6, do you feel others have the life that you dream of having? Answering yes to any of these questions is a good indication that your perfectionism may be a problem. Let's review available tools to help you overcome this. There are various strategies and techniques to help perfectionists avoid pitfalls and learn to find enjoyment in life. The 3 main areas of change we will focus on are 1, changing perfectionistic thinking, 2 is changing perfectionistic behaviors, and 3 is overcoming procrastination. Perfectionists are often plagued with highly self-critical thoughts. This can also cause perfectionists to have a difficult time seeing things from others' point of view. Additionally, perfectionists get bogged down with the details which overshadow the big picture. It's difficult to take a leap towards a bigger life without taking advice from others, or if you're so critical of yourself that you aren't willing to try new things. Here are some tools to help achieve a more positive way of thinking. Your thinking needs to be more realistic instead of idealistic. Practice repeating the following affirmative sentences. Nobody is perfect. All I can do is my best. I love my awesomeness, and I also love my flawsomeness. Making a mistake does not mean I'm inadequate or a failure. Everyone makes mistakes. To help you take a different perspective and see things from someone else's point of view, practice asking yourself the following questions. How might someone else view this situation? Are there other ways to look at this? What would be my advice to a friend having similar thoughts? The following questions can help keep the big picture in mind. Talk at a meeting without first rehearsing anything. Ask yourself, what does it matter? What is the worst that could happen? And if the worst does happen, how can I survive it? Will this matter tomorrow, next week, or the week after? Perfection often stems from the fear of making mistakes. Gradually and consistently facing fears is the best way to overcome these negative behaviors. As crazy as this sounds, I want you to make mistakes purposely. This will help you play with the feelings that come up. Also, try putting yourself in situations you usually avoid out of fear that things won't go right or work out perfectly. Remember that the goal is to get out of your comfort zone in order to realize the end result isn't a catastrophe when things aren't perfect. Here are some ideas to try out. Show up for an appointment 15 minutes late. Leave a visible area in your house a little messy. Tell people when you're tired or other feelings that you consider as a weakness. Wear a piece of clothing that has a visible stain on it. Purposely allow several uncomfortable silences to occur during lunch with a coworker. Send an email or post something on Instagram or Facebook that has a mistake in it. Talk in a meeting without rehearsing. Try a new restaurant without researching how good it is. It'll take time and practice before making mistakes feels comfortable. Be consistent and remember having anxiety will be normal. Once you become less rigid, you'll be less anxious over making mistakes. Procrastination is often accompanied by perfectionism because in the perfectionist mind, if you can't complete something perfectly, it's difficult even to get started. Unfortunately, procrastination tends to make situations worse and increases anxiety. And again, if you wanted a bigger, better, braver life, but can't make a move towards it, procrastination could be a major culprit. So here are some ways to help you overcome procrastination. Create a realistic schedule. Try to break down a task into small, manageable steps. Set a goal for each step and then reward yourself for achieving each goal along the way. Keep in mind the goal is to complete the task, not to make it perfect. And set priorities. Perfectionists can struggle with deciding what they should do and where should they devote their energy and effort. Prioritize tasks by deciding which are most important to accomplish. And remember, it's okay not to give 100% to each task. Ask for help. Everyone needs help at one time or another. There's no shame in admitting you are in over your head or simply struggling with one step of a task. Especially if you're taking a leap toward a bigger life, asking for help is a given. Cognitive behavior therapy is a form of behavioral treatment that helps people problem solve. In this case, perfectionistic behaviors are the problem. So CBT can help you see the relationship between beliefs, thoughts, and feelings, and subsequent behavior and actions. The process of CBT works by understanding it is a person's perception of events rather than the events themselves that determine how he or she will feel and act. Someone with anxiety often perceives negative outcomes, which is only strengthened when something bad does happen. The negative thoughts will influence outcomes negatively as well. Cognitive behavior therapists believe that adjusting thoughts can directly influence emotions and thus behavior. So the process of CBT is based on an educational model used to help people unlearn negative reactions and learn new positive emotional and behavioral reactions to challenging situations. In order for a CBT session to be productive, both the individual and the therapist must be acting participants. Treatment is focused on the goals of each session rather than just sitting and talking about whatever comes to mind. There are a number of tools utilized by CBT to help people in therapy evaluate their emotional patterns and states. Techniques commonly include journaling, challenging beliefs, mindfulness, relaxation, social, physical, and thinking exercises to make a person aware of his or her emotional and behavioral patterns. CBD is perfect for addressing perfectionistic behaviors, especially when dealing with anxiety or compulsion disorders associated with perfectionism. Working with an integrative life coach is extremely effective in uncovering disempowering beliefs birthed from childhood that cause you to strive for perfectionism. Working with a coach can be a very effective tool to changing your behaviors and therefore changing your actions. You need to uncover the beliefs you aren't aware you have so you can consciously make new empowering beliefs that support your growth and your ability to live a bigger, better, braver life. One of the most debilitating aspects of perfectionism is the constant need to judge, the judgment of self, others, and every tiny detail. Mindfulness is a practice dedicated to awareness of the present moment without judgment. Letting go of judgment may be the key to letting go of perfectionism. Mindful breathing techniques can be helpful in getting you started. Try this 5-minute mindful breathing exercise. From a comfortable seated position, close your eyes and bring your attention to the present moment by noticing how you're feeling physically. Then bring your attention to your breath. Notice the sensation of your breath going in and out of your nostrils as you breathe. Paying attention to the rise and fall of your chest, and then notice the rise and fall of your belly as well. Each time your mind wanders away from the breath, and this will happen many times. Notice where it goes, and then gently bring your attention back to the feelings of the breath going in and out. Start by practicing mindful breathing 5 minutes a day, and then try to work yourself up to 10, 15, 20 minutes each session. In addition to reducing perfectionistic or perfectionism tendencies, there are numerous documented benefits of regularly practicing mindfulness. These benefits include reduced stress. Mindfulness produces less avoidance and improves emotional regulation, leading to a better mood and better ability to handle stress. Reduces depressive symptoms. Mindfulness has been found to decrease depressive symptoms, anxiety, and stress, as well as increasing self-compassion. Enhances healthy behaviors. Mindfulness can enhance or increase multiple behaviors related to health. With consistent practice, mindfulness can actually alter functions of the brain. Negative thinking and behaviors are the core of perfectionism. Actively working to rewire the brain's negativity for more positive outlooks can be done through the regular practice of mindfulness. Here are a few of my favorite quotes that I think you may enjoy. You're imperfect and you're wired for struggle, but you are worthy of love and belonging. Brené Brown. In today's rush, we all think too much, seek too much, want too much, and forget about the joy of just being. Eckhart Tolle. Suffering usually relates to wanting things to be different rather than they are. Alan Locus. Do every act of your life as though it were the last act of your life. Marcus Aurelius. Think of any positive affirmation that will support you in letting go of the need to be perfect and place it somewhere that you look at every day. I like to put sticky notes on my bathroom mirrors. We've discussed a ton of information today, or I've discussed a ton of information. So here's a quick summary of steps to take in order to overcome perfectionism. Ditch the negative self-talk. Practice making mistakes. Break up tasks into small, manageable steps. Prioritize important projects. Keep in mind the big picture. Instead of getting bogged down by the details, don't compare yourself to others. Practice living in the moment. So thank you for taking the time to experience my class. I had such a good time bringing these tools to you in hopes of helping you be a better you. Actually, I love helping people achieve their goals and learn how to be the best version of themselves. There are many options for working with me. I do one-on-one coaching over the phone, so I can be anywhere and you can be anywhere. I am starting a bigger, better, braver coaching course online that you can sign up for. And of course, you can order my book, Bigger, Better, Braver, Conquer Your Fears, Embrace Your Courage, and Transform Your Life. And you can sign up for a free discovery call from my website at nancypicardlifecoach.com. I wish you all the very best on your journey towards letting go, and have a great day.